Hello, Real Talkers. A story of tenacity, luck, toughness, and controversy. Joseph Isaac Gutnick, variously known as Diamond Joe for his mining exploits, Demon Joe for his presidency of the Melbourne Demons, and the Lubavitcher Rebbe's special emissary for the integrity of the land of Israel, is a fantastic mix of contradictions, all but wiped out in the 1987 stock market crash. He's one of the few high flyers who managed to survive and slowly work his way back to become one of Australia's wealthiest and most successful gold miners. Joseph Gutnick is also an ordained Orthodox rabbi and well known for his philanthropy in the Jewish world. Gutnick became close with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in his role as the Rebbe's special emissary for the integrity of the land of Israel. What an honor, Rabbi Gutnick, here with me in the studio. Wow, it's like history coming here in front of me. I'll tell you, because I remember as a Chabad girl growing up and hearing, the stories of Rabbi Gutnick and going into buildings where it's called Rabbi Gutnick, Joseph Gutnick, and Stara Gutnick, and all these names that I remember in my past, and now to have you and to interview here, it's
my honor to be here.
Let's start from the end. We just finished elections. We're fresh, happy, I believe.
Very happy.
Good. What does special emissary of the integrity of the land mean, once and for all, for us to understand?
I was given a mission by the Rabbi in 1990 at the time of the Shamir, when he was Prime Minister, and there was this going back and forth between him and Prime Minister Peres in regards to who should lead the party, and the Rabbi was very much for the Prime Minister Shamir to have a narrow, strong right-wing government, and it was my mission to try and make sure in the Targil HaMasriach that should occur. And thank God I was successful in that regard, and the Rabbi told me to continue doing that work and ensuring there should be a right-wing government, and sometimes I was successful and sometimes I wasn't, and this time was the greatest success.
You're happy? Very
happy. I'm sure the Rabbi would be very happy, because this ensures a Jewish state and a state headed by Benjamin Netanyahu as Prime Minister, and a right-wing government that will ensure no giving away land, no Palestinian state, and a Jewish state. Shleimat ha'aretz, Shleimat ha'Torah, and Shleimat ha'am.
What happened the years, you have always been involved with the elections, like all the other previous elections that didn't go the way you planned?
I was always involved. I was always behind the scenes working with the right-wing politicians. I was friendly with Prime Minister Netanyahu in good times and in bad times. And when he was totally out of politics and an opposition leader, he visited Australia, he stayed at our home, and I was friends constantly with others in the right-wing camp and the Mitnachlim, and we went through difficult times, and hopefully these good times will continue till Mashiach comes.
Have you heard from Bibi since elections?
Yes.
How does he sound?
He's very happy.
What mistakes do you hope he's not going to do?
Well, that's step one, is that he has to set up a strong cabinet that will take care of all the issues that concern us in regards to our dealings with the Arab world. There should be no compromises. There should be inner security in Israel. People shouldn't be afraid to walk in the streets of Jerusalem. So hopefully that he will do that correctly, and hopefully that any ideas of compromises will not be in his ambitions any longer, that he'll make sure that everything that we stand for as a Jewish nation, to be strong and proud, will remain intact.
Does Bibi know, and I'm sure you keep on reminding him, but it's something that I always wondered once he becomes back into power. He's been into power a few times. Do you have to remind him that he's blessed by the Rebbe, or he's aware of this?
He has to be constantly reminded, but we all have to be constantly reminded to follow in what the Rebbe told us. He has this very strong feeling towards the Rebbe. He claims from time to time that he is a Chabadnik himself, and everyone needs to be reminded, and especially him, because he's under a lot of pressure from different externally and internally, so he has to be reminded constantly, not only by myself but by others as well, that he's got obligations to the Rebbe, and he's got obligations to the Jewish people. It's not only the Rebbe. The Rebbe was concerned for the Jewish people, and the danger that envelops the Jewish people because of our enemies that surround us, that we have to remain strong. We have to protect the land of Israel. We have to protect the people in Israel, and we have to be Shomrei Torah and Mitzvahs, and we have to be dedicated and aligned to God's will.
I think we have to be also united within ourselves.
Well, that's been a problem all through history, so Mashiach would belong here if we would be united internally. But this is one of the times where we saw that the right was united and the left there was no unity, and we saw that God's blessings came on the religious parties and the Likud because we were united. And whereas on the left, unfortunately, they weren't united. But we're waiting for the day when the left and the right and we'll all be united as one nation.
That's what I'm saying. Have you spoken to Ayelet Shaked since?
Yes.
How is she?
Disappointed, but she'll...
You believed in her?
I still believe in her, and I believe that she'll come back one day, but she made a big mistake, and it looks like the Jewish people in Israel did not forgive her, and she did. I sincerely believe that she regretted what she did, and hopefully we'll see her again in
You think she's coming back, or it's
I hope
over?
so. She's a very talented woman, and she can contribute a lot to the state of Israel. But she paid the price, and hopefully when she comes back again, she'll be forgiven and she'll be able to rise to the heights where she should be. But she made a massive mistake, and that's where she is now, outside of the political world of Israel.
Yeah. You're going back to Australia soon, and who's going to be here to make sure that everything continues the right way? Do you have...
In this day and age, distance doesn't make a difference. You've got Zoom, you've got telephone, you've got people you can talk to, so I don't think distance out. I'm in Australia and my heart is always in Israel, so my heart and now your mouth and now your face, so with modern technology it's not difficult to
Would you ever move to Israel? Or your place is in Australia forever?
Whilst I'm making money and I can contribute to the Jewish world, and especially to Israel, my place is in Australia. That's what the Rabbi told me. So, of course, I would love to. Myself, my wife, would love to live in Israel. But, unfortunately...
Do you have children in Israel?
I have a granddaughter is now in Israel, and I came to, just became a great-grandfather.
Oh,
and my wife a great-grandmother.
Amazing.
And so I have a grandchild who's a Sabra.
Wow.
So we're very proud of him. His name is Avram.
Nice.
And of course we all want to come to Israel, and hopefully it won't be too long till we're all here.
You live in Tasmania now?
Yes.
Where is that?
Tasmania is an island. Iye Hayam is one of these islands on the bottom of Australia. It's part of Australia. It's a state of Australia.
Wow.
There's only about 500 Jews in Australia. Wow. There is a Chabad Shliach there who tries to. There's a lot of tourists that come there, and also Chabad cares about every single Jew, even if it's far-flung far-flung place like Tasmania. And fortunately, we talked about luck and mazel and God's blessings and the Rabbi's blessings. I've made a big discovery of critical minerals in Tasmania, which are used for electric cars and batteries. And so my blessings are coming from Tasmania now, so I live there. Wow. And try to contribute to Jewish life in Tasmania as well. Incredible. And I'm there. I'm there while the success continues.
When did this whole thing start with the Rebbe? When was like your family, your parents were always Chabadnikim, close to the Rebbe?
My grandfather was a Tomim in Russia. He was a student of the Temple Tomim, the Lubavitch Yeshiva.
Okay.
And my father was sent to, unfortunately, my grandfather passed away at a very young age, in his early 30s.
Okay.
And then he was sent to Lithuania by Dayan Abramsky at that time. And then he came to Australia during the war. And the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe told him to stay. All his friends from Telz went back to their different places around the world, and the previous Rebbe told him to stay because there'd be a lot of Holocaust survivors who will come back to Australia, and he should look after them. And he became the Holocaust rabbi in Australia, very known for.
Wow, that's incredible.
Very known for his ability to be able to draw them closer to belief in God.
But your father already had the blessing from the Rebbe that he's going to be successful, or that went straight to you?
My father was a rabbi. He was the chief rabbi of Victoria in Australia. So he had the Rebbe's spiritual blessings in his activities. But I got the material blessings. So
only you, also your brothers?
Well, only myself, openly, in such a revealed manner from the Rabbi. The Rabbi wanted me to be successful in my mining
How old
adventures.
were you? When was the
34, 35, so I was very young at that time.
Incredible.
And it was quite a thing that the Rabbi should choose someone from far off Australia, a young gentleman, to be his representative in Israel. But I suppose my roots, my father was the president for JNF for many years in Australia, so we were brought up in a Chabad home, but also a Zionistic home. So I had always had strong feelings towards Israel. And as the Rabbi said a number of times, I'm quite a stubborn individual. So I had a mixture of Zionistic feelings, Lubavitcher Chosid. I learned in Chabad for all my life, and
so these two feelings can go together.
They are together.
They are together. Let's make it clear, because a lot of people
together.
say Chabad are not Zionistic, Israel. Let's paint a nice picture here.
We pray every day in Shana Esra all the time. All our tefillahs in regards to Yitzhak and Yerushalayim, you open up a siddur and you pray.
Right.
There's not almost a sentence that doesn't have a mention of Yerushalayim and Zion. Of course, we are Zionistic. We're Zionistic because we believe in God chose the Jewish people and He chose the land of Israel. So it's no contradiction. It's no contradiction to be a Chabad Chosid and also to love and believe in Israel.
I just wanted to make that very clear for everybody.
Very clear. Doesn't mean that we're only nationalistic and nothing else. We're a mix of religious Jews that are dedicated to the Torah and dedicated to Shlemut Ha'am, to the Jewish people as a Jewish nation, and the integrity of the state of Israel. It all comes together, and one is not a contradiction to the other.
Amazing. And you have followed everything the Rebbe has told you, always. How hard it is to follow the Rebbe's...
Well, when he first sent me on the mission in 1990, his instruction is that you go and you act as my shliach, but do not turn left or right, just follow my instructions. And then you'll be successful. So there was many a time when I had my own questions and my own thoughts and my own ways that I thought maybe this is the approach that should occur. But I had many answers from the Rebbe, and many times I wrote to the Rebbe, and many times I got knocked on the head with a hammer because of the ideas I came up with. But the
Rebbe would tell you off?
Only times he would tell me off was when it comes to policies in regards to Israel, any type of compromise. Then if I suggested any type of compromise, he would be very much against it, and he would tell me off in a nice way.
Always in a nice way.
I'm a little bit sensitive, so
he knew who he was dealing with.
He knew exactly who he was dealing with.
And in regards of your business career advice?
Well, he was, that started also a little bit earlier in 1987, when I was already very successful as a gold miner. So the Rabbi continued to encourage me in that regard, and he told me to continue for drilling for gold and finding more gold, and continue to drilling for finding diamonds. And he was quite open about it in dollars, tens of times in front of many people, and it was on videos, and he just quite remarkably unusual that he should tell somebody, you know, continue to drill for gold, continue to drill for diamonds, you'll be successful, and gold is waiting for you in the depths of the earth, make sure you keep on drilling. So I had a lot of brachas, a lot of blessings from the Rabbi, quite unusual ones on Simchat Torah.
Yeah.
He once lifted the Torah. I had the merit of presenting the Torah to him before Hakofas, before the Rabbi danced with the Torah. So I asked him for blessing and success in my business. I had that opportunity. He lifted up the Torah and said, more than is written here. So there wasn't, you know, there was no limit to the blessings that he gave me. But at the same time, when you have such blessings, you have challenges. Yeah. Nothing comes easy in life. The greater the blessings, the greater the challenges, and the greater the difficulties. So I've gone through, just like in Shlemot Haaretz, there's been difficulties and hurdles that we have to overcome over the last 30 years. The same thing as in business. I've had my very good times, and I've had difficult times and challenging times when I've thought at times, you know, the Rabbi promised me success and riches, and there I was barely surviving. But
that's what I wanted to say. In 2016, you go through bankruptcy, $260 million. I don't know. For me, these numbers are
300 million, 400 million.
Sorry.
So not billions yet. Well, that's the challenge. Despite those times, I used to always tell my wife and my family, don't get nervous. That the Rabbi gave me the blessings. Nothing in life comes easy. You get tested. Avraham Avinu went through 10 tests, not that I compare myself to Avraham Avinu, but people get tested in life, and thank God I showed my faith and my dedication. I continued. I didn't waver in my belief for one moment, just like I didn't waver in my belief that eventually there'll be a Menshalat Sarah Chazaka, there'll be a narrow, tight government. And thank God now, it's 30 years later, and I'm sitting on a treasure that's most likely worth billions of dollars.
Amazing. So inspiring.
So as we see the land of Israel and its policies developing and everything flourishing here, hopefully the same is happening in my business.
Your business. You also give a lot of money. You're a philanthropist. How easy or hard is, you know, when they say, yes, it's easy because he has it. How hard is to donate? I mean, wherever you go in the world, there's a building, there's something that has your name on it. Is it hard? Is it because the Rebbe told you so it's always there? It's within you? How does it work?
Well, it's part of my nature that I'd like to help other people, and I've been that when I had a little bit of money.
That's what I wanted to ask. You were always like that?
I was always like that. I would give probably I made money on the stock market when I was in school. So I gave away a lot of that money. Really? Also, yes.
In school?
In school.
That's cute.
So when I was a young man when I got married, so I gave to a mikveh in Melbourne, I gave a mikveh elsewhere. So times when I didn't have much money, I still gave. So it became part of my second nature. And I suppose that I believe the justification for me going into business and not being the Rabbi's emissary was that if I'm making money,
you have to share.
I have to do something good with it, and to make up. Some people have to work on other people spiritually, and some people have to help out material and help institutions. But I try and do both.
Right.
So I have my own Chabad house.
In Australia?
In Australia. And
what do you mean your own Chabad house? Did you create it or you run?
I run, I'm director, I'm the Rabbi, and we built a replica of 770 on Inkerman Street, Balaclava.
Wow. And
so I try as much as I can. I can't do it as a full-time because I'm in business. I have other people. Now that I'm in Tasmania, my son-in-law, Rabbi Hoch, has taken over the Chabad house. And I try and combine both.
There's a lot of young men in Lubavitch now. You know, Lubavitch has become such a huge organization all over the world. And there's the shluchim, the boys that follow and become shluchim, become teachers. And there's very successful businessmen, not like you, but, you know, getting there. And you are some kind of inspiration for them.
I strongly advise all these young people who are going into business, because there isn't enough positions for all these individuals to go on shlichus around the world. As you know, a lot of places are taken up already by families, and it's very hard to get a position. I strongly advise to take an example for myself, that you can be very close to the Rabbi and do things for the Rabbi, even if you're not necessarily a shliach in Timbuktu or in Russia or in New Zealand or wherever place it may be. You can still fulfill the Rabbi's wishes as a shliach, an emissary. Everyone can be an emissary of a Rabbi in a different way. Sometimes it's in an official capacity, and sometimes as an unofficial capacity. Every Chabadnik can be an emissary, every Jew can be an emissary. So all these young people today who are going out and are successful in business, be very proud of the fact that you're successful, and make sure you're part of the fold by giving charity, by including yourself in all different kinds of committees and Chabad houses, and you're just as important as the shluchim.
Amazing. That's exactly what I wanted to understand. Just
as important as the shluchim. The Rebbe wanted everyone to be shliach. Everyone has their roles. Of course, the shluchim have a very special role, but so is each individual. If they can do the right thing and they have the right intentions, they can cause...
But to keep integrity, to keep...
You have to keep your
image
and your image, and you have to remain strong, a proud Chabadnik, and do the things that bring credit to the Rabbi, and bring credit to the movement, make a Kiddush Hashem.
Amazing. Rabbi Gutnick, you're such an inspiration, and it was really very inspiring for me to speak to you. I really hope that you keep on coming back, and you keep on inspiring and pushing Bibi to stay on the right track. And are you going to buy now the Tasmanian football team? I knew you bought the Melbourne one.
Well, we'll see. Well, I've got to do one of my...
you love football?
Yeah, I was. Of course, I always followed when I was a young kid in Australia. Just like the young kids, they follow baseball and rugby in America. It's a way in Australia. Football is like a religion on its own.
Yeah, like in Italy.
And so, therefore, you identify if they can see a Jew wearing a yarmulke and keeping Shabbos and not going to the football on Shabbos and still be involved in the football, but keeping all your standards, Jewish standards, without compromise. So it's a way, it's a lesson to others as well.
For sure.
And they can look at us in a different manner. Yes, we follow football, but we have our principles that we don't compromise. And in regards to Bibi, this first step has taken place. He's Prime Minister.
Yeah.
But there's many more steps that have to take place. So we have to all be on the guard.
Yes.
That the dream that has come true now, that we have a right-wing government, should all that needs to be implemented should be implemented, and Am Yisrael should grow, and Eretz Yisrael should grow, and we should be we should be a light to the nations with our high technology, with our example as being good Jews and united, the left, right. We should be a model for the rest of the world to follow.
Amen. And keep on reminding Bibi to remember where he got the blessing from. You
That's
can just call him up. Thank you so much, Rabbi Gutnick, for being here.